Once again, we want to welcome you back from another fantastic center stage session. Denise Lee headed up a powerful conversation around Cisco's leadership in designing and future-proofing energy systems. In just a couple of minutes, Alpa is going to get an opportunity for an exclusive one-on-one with Denise, so stay right here on the live stream for that behind-the-scenes conversation. My name is Steve Moulter. Before we get to that conversation, we're going to head back out to our showcase on the WAS. Rob is going to give us a sneak peek into the AI-ready data center. Rob, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Steve. And this is so exciting. I'm in a place that I always somewhat seek out because we keep improving the partners we work with, the technologies, but I'm in the sustainability zone. And specifically, I wanted to introduce Christopher. This is Christopher, correct?
That's correct.
Christopher. He's got a last name I can't pronounce, but we're talking about immersion cooling. Tell us why that's important to Cisco. What are we doing here?
So Cisco's actually been doing immersion cooling for a while, and to the date, it's been mainly for a couple of specific customers have asked us to immersion cool switches, etc. We're now starting to do immersion cooling across a broader portion of the portfolio, and right now we're showing immersion cooling on our servers. And this is becoming important as the server heat load is going up, as we go to more AI, etc. The servers are producing more heat. Heat, we have to get out of the data center. And to get heat out of the data centers, a lot of the power that they're using, in fact, the majority of power of the data center uses often is used to cool the data center. And that's because air is a very poor heat transfer fluid. It's much better if we can get the heat into fluid right away. If we do that, we don't have to use as much power. In fact, we can use very little power to get that heat out of the data center. If we move the heat directly into fluid. That becomes also more important. If we get the heat into fluid, we can actually then use that heat, not only get rid of it more efficiently, we can actually use that heat for other purposes. So we're not just being more efficient and throwing it away, we can actually reuse that heat. Asperitas is a partner of ours that we're using for immersion cooling. So I want to turn it over to our partners here at Asperitas, and they can talk to you about a new tank they've just launched for immersion cooling. And we're showing that here with a Cisco C220 server that is immersed in their tank.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi, thanks, Chris. So I'm Andy Young, I'm the CTO of Asperitas, and it's a pleasure to introduce you to our new product, the DFC X1. It's a 12U tank with an integrated cooling system which uses water to cool in a dielectric immersion cooled environment. You can cool up to 60 kilowatts over 12U, that's 5 kilowatts per U. Take a look inside if you like. So you can see here the server immersed. It's a single server to demonstrate its operation. So we have the cooling circulating from below, cooling up to 5 kilowatts per U. That's a 1U server right there. And we can have additional cooling from the top using targeted flow to achieve up to and in excess of 1 kilowatt per chip, which is going to be able to cool your workloads in the future for AI with a minimum of power overhead. Literally 60 kilowatts with a few hundred watts for the pumping circulation of the dielectric, and that's it. So super efficient, super compact. This is a 12U integrated CDU, but it's part of a product series where you can have multiple units of 12, 24, 48U in a row with in-row integrated cooling, which is great for implementing this in your data center.
I'd like to ask you guys a question. I'm going to go direct it to you, Andy,
Sure.
with this one. But I notice you just have one device here with a lot of liquid around it. What type of density are we able to get with this? Is it similar to the way we're packing in racks and running out of space, and now we're controlling it better?
Yeah.
How does that work? What's the ratio?
Well, really, when you're cooling by immersion, everything gets cooled by a liquid. So you don't have to route pipes to individual high-power components because the liquid's everywhere. It wets the whole server. The densities really are only limited by the flow rates that you can circulate the fluid by. Yes, there's impedance that resists the motion of that fluid, but with a pump system such as this, you have to drive the fluid with a pump, manage the distribution of that flow, but that's where we work with Cisco and third-party partners to adapt the server for immersion to ensure that we deliver the fluid in the right places, in the right quantities. But essentially, everything's cooled by liquid, so it minimizes the losses on the air side. Therefore, you can run your chillers lower duty points and save energy whilst achieving cooling for high densities such as AI servers.
I think
that's perfect.
The other thing really quickly on that, you can actually achieve higher densities in liquid than you can in air
Ah.
because I don't need to leave as much space to get enough air going by it. So what would have taken, say, 8U to pack 4 GPUs into, or 8 GPUs, I now may be able to put 8 GPUs into 4U or even smaller, because the fluid is a much better mechanism to extract the heat than air is.
Well, and we need answers like this, right? Because GPUs are giving us a power density combination that's really untenable even in existing very well-powered data centers these days.
Correct.
I love that these guys are coming up with answers. If you get a chance, stop back by the sustainability zone. The whole area is interesting, but thank you to the partner Espiritus. Christopher, thank you as well. We'll go back to you, Steve.
I appreciate it, Rob. Thank you so much, and thanks to Christopher and the Espiritus team. Really, really cool stuff. We've got over 100 technical demos and immersive experiences waiting for you out in the Cisco Showcase. It is always such a popular and energizing and entertaining focal point of the world of solutions. Great reason you need to be here at the show. All right, as we promised, Alpa is going to have a little conversation with Denise Lee, the lady of the hour, to talk about her great session a few minutes ago. We're going to send it across to you, Alpa.
Thank you so much, Steve. It's an absolute honor to be joined by Denise here on stage. Hi, Denise.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, great. It's wonderful to be here.
Good. Would you like to introduce yourself and what you do at Cisco? To our
Absolutely.
viewers?
My name is Denise Lee. I'm the Vice President of Engineering Sustainability Office and Engineering Alliances.
Amazing title. And how's your Cisco Live going so far?
It's been great this year. Honestly, the energy and the buzz is it's almost tangible.
It's amazing, isn't it? You can just feel it around you.
Absolutely.
So we've heard about how important sustainability is, right? And I have some questions for you.
Absolutely.
I'd love to ask you.
Please.
The first is, how have you seen the topic of sustainability evolve with our customers today?
You know, I think a couple of years ago, sustainability was this really lovely topic to talk about, high level, to show commitment and company purpose. And it has totally emerged into, it's good for business, it's the right thing to do, and it's a necessity, right? Because things like our energy systems and the amount of power we need to run all of these devices, it's a limiting factor for the growth of things like networking and compute. Power is a limiting factor. And so when we think about energy savings, it's just the cost of doing business. And so what I would say the evolution has gone from, it's not just the right thing to do, it's a good thing to do for business.
Absolutely, and everything that we can do to help and consciously change, we should definitely try to. So AI is obviously a huge topic at Cisco Live, and how, in your view, is AI, affecting our sustainability or impacting our sustainability roadmap?
You know, as much as I hate to say it, AI has just put a really big spotlight on a problem that we've known for a long time, which is power is a finite source. And there's a lot of wasted energy in a lot of the systems and the architectures we have, right? Buildings consume 30 to 40% of our world's electricity. There's a lot of conversion loss when we move AC to DC in the PSUs in our data center. There's just a lot of loss and a lot of wasted energy. And when AI came along and just put huge constraints on the system, there's an old quote or adage that says, necessity is the mother of invention.
I love that.
Right, or mother of innovation. And so when you think about that, that's what AI has done. It's put a spotlight and an urgency on problems we know have existed for a long time.
So we've got a lot to do.
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
And we heard you talk a little earlier about energy management. So the question I have for you is, how are our customers integrating this into their campuses as an IT environment?
You know, energy management is such a fun topic because it's just foundational. When I say fun topic, it's germane to everything we do in networking, because that adage of you can't see what you can't fix, or you can't fix what you can't see, sorry.
Yeah.
Energy management provides the telemetry, and the only two parties that hold the telemetry of energy telemetry is Cisco and the end customer. And so we've done a tremendous amount of work across our portfolio to simplify energy management for not just Cisco, but for our customers. And that helps with everything from reporting and compliance, but also automation and energy savings. So we're very excited that energy management is getting rolled out across our portfolio. We offer it for free as part of visibility to our platforms. And now customers are starting to use and adopt this so that they can eventually automate.
And I imagine there's been some great feedback from our customers on that as well, and the ability to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely, especially because a lot of regulatory governing bodies are paying attention and tracking and measuring all that as well.
It's so important. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously sustainability is going to be around as it should be, right? How should IT professionals consider that going forward, and what advice would you give to them on how to implement that?
You know, I've often found a lot of our IT professionals and engineers in general, they're problem solvers, and they like to be part of the solution. So my guidance and my advice, and folks I get to work with all the time, is to simply say, we need them now more than ever, to connect the dots and to bring the conversation at the leadership level across the organization. It's not just an IT problem, right? We're starting to see the convergence in the OT network at the C-suite level with facilities and real estate and even supply chain and procurement. We need to bring all of that together. And IT has this very important role to play in doing that. And so great time to lean in, to step up and to be part of the solution.
Absolutely. And talking about great times, and timing is now, right?
Yeah.
What highlights have you seen, within sustainability that come to mind that you can share with our viewers?
You know, I think the most exciting thing is the sheer number of projects that we're seeing that are outside of our traditional scope. So, an example, without naming names, a customer wants to build the most sustainable hospital in the world, and it's large, like over 40 acres. They want to get ready for the next world stage event, whether it be the World Cup or the Olympics or something. They're projects that typically you would look at vendor by vendor, piece by piece, but now they're looking at it more holistically. And that idea of future-proofing for the and getting AI-ready data centers for the future and future-proof campuses or workspaces, it's pretty exciting. And I would just urge people to think broadly. Start breaking down the silos. It's not just about one problem at a time. Everything is connected. The network is connecting everything, and this concept of being able to network power, just like networking our data, and being able to do that together is pretty powerful.
It's very impactful, yes. And if we have our attendees watching and they're thinking about how they'd like to get started on their sustainability journey and be more mindful of this, do you have any advice or tips that you would give them?
Yes, please visit our sustainability zone and learn more. It starts with, again, how are you measuring what's your baseline today? And with all the projects you have organically going, I would just urge people to think, how are you going to embed sustainability into your business decisions? It doesn't have to be an afterthought. It doesn't have to be a separate initiative. You can really bring it all together in one conversation.
I love that. Such practical advice. Thank you so much, Denise, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
and Steve, I'm going to head back over to you.
Alpa, fantastic. I appreciate it. Great conversation. And Denise, congratulations. Well done. Bravo. Really appreciate your center stage presentation, all the great content. As you just said, necessity is the mother of invention. We heard about that this morning in the keynote as well. Anurag talked about as every new application becomes an AI-first application, we are only as good as our ability to use energy to drive those capabilities, whether it's the speed of the network, the power within your organization of the data center, and that's why we're so glad to be able to hear from Denise on this and so much more. We're about 17 minutes from heading back out to center stage. This next time, we will talk Outshift by Cisco. That is Cisco's incubation engine. We are going to hear from Vijay Pandey, but before we do that, Cedric is back out in the Cisco showcase on the WAS floor, and this time he's going to give us a closer look at future-proof workspaces. Hey there, Cedric.
Hey, Steve. Actually, I took Denise's advice to heart, right? I'm still hanging out in the sustainability zone, having a lot of fun. As you said, we are here right now at the Future Workplaces kind of booth within the sustainability zone. Because if you think about it, I always thought I was going to work from home more, but people are really returning to the offices. So I'm here joined by Andrew Liu, who is a product manager, who's a director of product management, sorry, Andrew, at Cisco. And we're going to talk about smart buildings. If you think about it, people are going back to the office, so the offices need to evolve as well. So Cisco has some great solutions behind us over here as well. But I would like to know from you, Andrew, first, what are some of the top challenges that our customers, IT professionals are seeing when they're retrofitting buildings for the future?
Sure. I think our top issue is actually timing. Because when customers actually go in to decide the infrastructure of the building, it actually starts with architecture, and it goes into MEP, that's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing design and implementation. And unlike our normal Cisco like IT infrastructure, where we go in probably after the building is built, a lot of its planning needs to take place before the building even broke ground. So that is something that I think our traditional sales partners are not exactly used to, and that's also a time where IT professionals don't necessarily start engaging with the stakeholders actually at this early stage. So oftentimes when our IT folks as talk to their OT folks or facility folks, it's already too late. And that's the biggest issue today.
Okay, because I think as well behind you there is a lot of like cool stuff. I see some Meraki cameras, I see some IoT sensors. Like, can you tell us a little bit more like what is all of this doing? And also I see some box at the bottom which I feel is quite important. So
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So over here, let's start from the top of the table. What we're showing here really is PoE, or power over Ethernet, can already power everything in the office. That goes from lighting, to communications, to physical security, to your individual IT equipment, including your laptop. We can actually charge it, we can actually connect it, right? So as an electrical infrastructure perspective, you can actually power everything in the office with a Cisco Catalyst switch. But what powers the switch? And also, what's going to power, let's say, larger appliances such as your vacuum cleaner or a fridge or something like that. And that's why we have down here. This is fault managed power by our partner Panduit over there, right? So what do these look like? On my left-hand side, you have the regular Ethernet cable. That's power over Ethernet that can do up to 90 watt. However, Ethernet is actually limited to 100 watt and also 60 volts. So there's not going to be a next generation of let's say PoE that goes higher than that. Back in 2017, when we reached the limit, we have started asking our questions, what goes beyond that? And this is the answer. This is fault managed power. Remember, that is 60 volt, 100 watt. This is 450 volt and unlimited wattage. In today's implementation, Panduit's implementation, this particular cable can already carry about 5 kilowatts of power.
Okay.
And that's power that is touch safe, that is ground safe, which means it's easy and fast to deploy.
Okay. That's awesome. Like, I think, you know, what a cable can do these days, right?